Hi, friends, and welcome to our herbal medicine deep dive. In today's video, we're going to be playing a game called Fact or Fiction Herbal Edition to tackle some commonly held beliefs and misperceptions about herbal medicine. My goal with this video is to help you separate truth from myth so that you can feel confident about making your own herbal medicine at home. By the end of this video, you'll see why making medicine at home makes so much sense in 2026. And you're going to understand how herbal wisdom and modern science can work together hand in hand. Spoiler alert, they absolutely can. Throughout this video, I'm going to be weaving insights from both traditional knowledge and current research, as well as my own clinical experience. At Deep Roots, we have our feet in both camps, science and open-hearted wonder. Plus, I'm going to show you how to take your herbal skills to the next level with our advanced medicine making course. More on that later. All right, let's dive in. So, our first facts. Herbal medicine is here to stay. So, herbal medicine isn't a fad or a fringe hobby despite popular belief. It's here to stay and growing every single year, year after year. Around the world, billions of people rely on medicinal plants for their health. In fact, the World Health Organization notes that up to 80% of some countries' populations use herbal remedies as part of their primary health care. This isn't just in remote villages or in ancient history. It's happening today in 2026 on every single continent. Here in the US and other Western countries, we're witnessing a huge resurgence of interest in herbs. Recent surveys show that roughly 42% of American adults use herbal supplements in 2020, and sharp increases occur year over year. And broader definitions of supplements suggest that even more people are exploring natural remedies. One survey in 2020 reported up to 71% of US adults using herbal supplements to support their health. That's millions of new herbal tea drinkers, tincture makers, and home remedy makers. Clearly, more and more folks are turning to plant-based healing as a complement to modern medicine. Another good question is why now? And I think this is partially because people are seeking a gentler approach and also preventative approaches, and they also want more control over their well-being in healthcare. The past few years have taught us the value of self-reliance and of preventative care, of bottom-up approaches to health, one that emphasizes individual agency and family health advocacy. Making your own medicine at home is empowering. It connects you to nature, it gives you direct hand in your health. It's a paradigm shift from a purely top-down system to one where we, everyday people, can take charge of common ailments in our health and wellness. Let's talk numbers. The herbal medicine movement isn't just anecdotal, it's big business too, and in a good way. The global herbal medicine market was valued at about $233 billion in 2024, and it's projected to nearly double to $437 billion by 2032. That growth is fueled by rising consumer preference for natural products and increased health awareness. In other words, this trend is not slowing down. Herbal medicine is here to stay, and it's only becoming more and more mainstream. Importantly, scientific research is catching up with traditional wisdom. Researchers have been studying herbs like never before. Over the last 5 years alone, more than 70,000 scientific research articles have been published on herbal medicine topics. Tens of thousands of studies on how plant compounds affect the body. This means we're building a modern evidence base that complements the centuries of folk knowledge that we already have. Herbal medicine isn't stuck in the past. It's evolving with the time. Additionally, the voices of herbal practitioners and clinicians are more important than ever in these conversations to bridge the gap between the past and the present, research and clinical applications. And that is the perspective that I bring at Deep Roots. We love bridging that gap, blending traditional use with cutting-edge research while being anchored in clinical experience. Bottom line, it's a fact that herbal medicine is not a myth, fringe, frivolous, or marginalized, or even unscientific. It's a global, growing movement rooted in both tradition and science. If you're feeling the pull to connect to your roots, trust that instinct. You're not alone and you're not crazy. You're part of a cultural shift back towards comprehensive, accessible, inexpensive, localized, and self-led care. And if you're excited about this, then stick around. We'll talk about how you can join an herbal community and boost your skills in our upcoming course. Number 2. Fiction, the myth of harmlessness. Natural equals safe. Let's tackle a common fiction, the myth that herbs are harmless because they're natural. How many times have you heard someone say, it's natural, so it can't hurt you? Or assume that herbal remedies have no side effects at all. As an herbalist, I encounter this misconception a lot, and I want to address it head on. The truth is, natural does not automatically mean safe. Plants are powerful, and not to scare you, but sometimes toxic. And as we, the clinical herbalists, like to say, they are low-dose botanicals. And with more strong herbal preparations and medicines comes the need for knowledge and respect. Many herbs, not just the low-dose herbs, contain potent biochemical compounds, and if misused, they can absolutely cause harm. To give you some concrete examples, let's talk about two common plants, comfrey, which is often used for wound healing or in salves, and turmeric, a common plant for inflammation. Comfrey contains compounds called pyrrolizidine alkaloids, and if someone drinks comfrey tea consistently, it can cause severe liver injury. In fact, oral comfrey is restricted or banned in some countries because of the risk. So what about turmeric? It's actually commonly linked to severe anemia due to concentrated use in high doses over a long period of time, and I've seen this multiple times in my clinical practice. We can also talk about usnea, which has been making the rounds on social media for the last few years. It will cause acute liver failure when ingested for longer periods of time in higher doses. These are natural, but obviously not benign. These examples aren't meant to scare you from herbs. Far from it. I obviously love herbal medicine. Rather, it's a reality check. Herbal medicine is real medicine, and real medicine has to be used responsibly. Digitalis or foxglove can stop a heart or save a life, depending upon the dose. That's a plant. Even something as common as nutmeg is natural, but if you eat a whole jar of it, you're going to get really sick. So we have to ditch the idea that all herbs are gentle pixie dust that you can sprinkle on with abandon. Everything potent enough to heal is potent enough to harm if misused. Does this mean that herbs are dangerous? In the hands of a knowledgeable user, herbs are generally quite safe, often safer than many pharmaceuticals. But knowledge is key. Understanding proper dosage, proper preparation, and which part of the plant to use and which part not to use makes all the difference. For instance, comfrey is perfectly fine for external use on unbroken skin. It's famously called knit bone for helping wounds and sprains. The danger lies in using it on broken skin or internally, because that's when those liver toxic alkaloids can get absorbed. Context in herbal medicine matters. So the fiction is the blanket statement that herbal medicine is harmless. The fact is that herbs must be respected. This is why education in herbal medicine is so important. When you learn herbal medicine and herbalism properly through trusted courses or mentors, you gain the wisdom of how to use plants safely. You can leverage their benefits while avoiding the pitfalls. In our advanced medicine making course, for example, safety is a huge priority. We cover which herbs to use with caution, how to properly dose tinctures and teas, and how to spot any warning signs, as well as navigating contraindications and the skills to formulate herbal medicines properly and effectively. We want you to feel empowered, not scared, and empowerment comes from knowledge. Remember, even water can be harmful if you drink gallons of it. The key is understanding the right amount and the right application. Herbs are no different. So don't let the myth of harmlessness fool you into either carelessness or undue fear. Treat herbs with the same respect you treat any medicine. Educate yourself, follow guidelines, and you'll find that they're an amazing ally for your health. Natural does not mean weak or inherently safe, and that's exactly why I'm here and committed to help you navigate herbal medicine with nuance. I once had a student who innocently assumed that arnica was safe topically and therefore would be wonderful internally for their sprained ankle. Arnica internally causes severe mucous membrane damage and dangerous cardiac symptoms, even in low doses. Luckily, she called to confirm its safety with me while the tea was brewing and before she had ingested it, and I was able to stop that hospital trip from happening. And this is a great example as to why you should be utilizing herbal medicine inside mentorship and through proper channels of education. Number 3, fact. Herbs have real measurable effects. They are not snake oil. Herbal remedies work because they have real biochemical effects on the body, just like conventional drugs. They are not magic potions full of sparkles, and they are definitely not placebo or snake oil. This is an important point for building trust. A lot of skepticism around herbs comes from thinking of them as folklore with no scientific basis. But when you look under the hood, herbs are medicine and biochemically active. No one is going to argue with me that coffee or cayenne pepper has a physiological impact on us. Those are plants and medicines. In many cases, the same pathways that pharmaceuticals act on are also affected by compounds from plants. Consider this. By some estimates, up to 40% of modern pharmaceutical drugs are derived from plant compounds. Aspirin is a classic example. It was developed from salicin and willow bark. The heart medication digitoxin comes from the foxglove plant, quinine for malaria from chinocha bark, Taxol, a chemotherapy drug, from the Pacific yew tree. The list goes on. What this tells us is that plants contain active molecules that can be isolated, measured, and shown to have specific effects on the human body, even when we use the whole herb in a tincture or tea. Those same molecules are at work. For instance, turmeric contains curcumin, which lab studies show have anti-inflammatory properties. Garlic has allicin, which can lower cholesterol and fight microbes. Valerian has valerianic acid, which binds to GABA receptors in the brain to promote relaxation, much like anxiety meds. So no, it's not fairy dust or wishful thinking, it's biochemistry. Herbs often have multiple constituents working together, which is why they can seem gentler than a single purified drug with one target. But that gentleness doesn't mean ineffective. It means a broader, more synergistic effect. In herbalism, we say plants are synergistic cocktails. They may not hammer on one receptor in the body with brute force, but they nudge several systems towards balance. For example, a whole herb might contain an anti-inflammatory compound and a soothing mucilage and a bit of muscle relaxant all in one. The result is a holistic effect that pharmaceuticals sometimes try to emulate by combining drugs through polypharmacy. But herbs are already doing that without any additional combination needed. Modern science is actively investigating these. As mentioned earlier, tens of thousands of studies have been published in recent years examining how herbs work. Researchers measure things like how an herb extract affects inflammatory markers, or how it influences blood pressure, how it impacts brain chemistry. One concrete example, scientists have documented how black pepper increases the absorption of curcumin, which is from turmeric, up to 2,000% by inhibiting certain enzymes which slow excretion via liver metabolism, allowing higher levels of curcumin to remain in the bloodstream for longer periods of time. That's why many turmeric supplements include piperidine from black pepper. But guess what? Piperidine is found in a southern plant, smartweed, Persicaria hydropepperoides, that was commonly added to herbal preparations in the South to help with absorption and assimilation of herbal formulas. That's practical, measurable science elucidating traditional herbal use 200 years after the fact. Another interesting fact, many herbs are included in pharmacopoeias, official medical reference books, around the world. The U.S. Pharmacopoeia in the 1800s listed numerous herbal drugs. Today, countries like Germany officially approve certain herbs like St. John's wort for mild depression or peppermint for IBS based on research. So the medical community does recognize herbal effects, especially when evidence is strong. If someone ever calls herbal medicine snake oil, you can confidently respond that modern medicine itself is deeply rooted in plant medicine. The real difference is not whether plants work, but how we use them. When you learn to make medicine at home, you're basically tapping into the oldest and simultaneously very current and convenient form of healthcare. You're engaging with real pharmacology in your kitchen, minus the fancy lab equipment. We covered a lot of science meets tradition meets clinical experience perspectives in our course because understanding how herbs work builds your confidence tremendously. It's a joy to see students realize that brewing chamomile isn't so different from a mild pharmaceutical sedative. Knowledge that helps you appreciate that what you're doing is valid and can be explained. And it feels a little magical because nature's really cool like that. So the fact is, herbs have measurable, tangible effects. They're effective precisely because they're not just placebo. When used correctly, many herbs can produce results similar to pharmaceuticals, sometimes, most of the time, with fewer side effects. And yes, this is documented by scientific research and centuries of empirical use, and it pans out in my own clinical experience. Embrace the science, the wisdom, and the hands-on learning. It all points to the same thing. Our green friends are desperately needed, and they are tools that I want in my back pocket and I will go to the mat for in defending and validating. Fun fact, the next time someone dismisses herbs, ask them if they've had coffee or tea today. Caffeine is a compound with very clear effects. That morning energy boost, courtesy of a coffee bean, is herbal medicine in action, my friends. We've covered a lot of ground in this fact versus fiction journey. By now, I hope you see that herbal medicine is a credible, enduring, and empowering form of healthcare. If you're feeling inspired and you want to go from cautious to confident in your herbal journey, I invite you to take the next step with guidance. I've put my 15 plus years of foraging and herbal practice into creating an in-depth program where you can learn advanced medicine making skills in a supportive and fun environment. It's called the Advanced Herbal Medicine Making Course, and whether you're a beginner or you've dabbled in herbal teas, this course is designed to fast track your competency and confidence. We start from the foundations and build to mastering extractions, formulation, and therapeutic applications. I cover over 12 modules. You're going to learn to make more than 20 different types of herbal preparations, from teas to tinctures, salves, and syrups. Basically, you'll become the person that has a remedy on hand for anything. You'll also become a part of a vibrant community of like-minded herbal enthusiasts, because learning together makes the journey a lot more fun. If that resonates with you, check out the link in the description or visit our website for more details on the Advanced Medicine Making course. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more herbal insights and tutorials. We have lots more to explore together, and do share your thoughts or experiences in the comments. Until next time, happy herbal crafting.